This is lesson 3-5, % word problems. Some things to keep in mind as we go to % word problems. Now, we've really done what we should be doing for % and how to solve them with the skeleton proportion of is over of equals % over 100. But typically when you see % problems as you move forward, you're going to see them be very involved. These are problems that state testing, regents, etc. like to use because of the fact that they're very real life. Everybody at some point in their life, unless you have a personal shopper for you for everything, which so few people do, everybody has to deal with shopping. Most people, because they live on a budget, are going to have to deal with coupons, rebates, and taxes. So you need to be able to calculate your things correctly if you're going to live on a budget. First thing to keep in mind is that when you're reading a word problem, there are several words that are synonymous with is. That means they mean the same thing. Words like was, were, and are all mean is in terms of a word problem, because of the fact that is, for our sake in mathematics, means equals. If you're dealing with a problem that involves some sort of shopping, whether it's grocery shopping, department store shopping, clothing shopping, any type of shopping whatsoever, if you have to factor in a % discount, the discount, and even if you have to factor in a straight up discount like $10 off, anytime you have a discount situation, the discount is always applied first, followed by the sales tax. Now, if they're both percentages like they usually are, you have to do the discount first with the percentage, followed by doing the sales tax. So that means you're going to have to do two separate proportions for the one problem. You're going to have to use the skeleton proportion twice for one problem. You cannot combine the percentages. You cannot subtract percentages from one another. You have to do it twice. Just for some vocabulary purposes, anytime you're dealing with business in a percentage problem, if you see the word profit, it's a gain in money. If you see the word deficit, it's a loss in money. Let's review our procedure for our % word problems. We want to make sure we read the problem carefully. For some people that means multiple times. For me personally, you know at this point that it means 3 times. Then I want to highlight my keywords. I want to make sure that I use one color for words that mean variables or numbers, and I want to use one for words that mean operations. Then you want to write your let statement, or statements depending on the number of things you need to find. Then, to remind yourself of what it is, you want to write your % skeleton proportion. Again, as a reminder to you, that is over of equals % over 100. Then you want to fill in your spots. You want to fill in the 3 spots, one of which is going to be filled in with a variable. At that point, you'll cross multiply. You should solve using properties, and you should be checking your work. And you should be writing a conclusion statement in a nice English, grammatically correct sentence at the end. Let's take a look at this example. In a calendar year, the Ace Manufacturing Company made a profit of $480,000. This amount represented 6% of the amount of business that they generated for the year. What was the amount of business that they generated for the year? Pause the video at this point to give yourself a chance to complete the word problem on your own. So the first thing I want to do is highlight my appropriate number and variable words. $480,000, 6, I'm not going to highlight the percent because that's going to tell me something different. And of course the amount of business, because that's what I don't know. Now, in blue, I'm going to highlight the percent because that tells me I need to do the percent proportion. And of course the word of, because I have multiplication. I want to let X be the amount of business. If you wanted to say amount of business generated for the year, that's fine as well. Now I need to set up my skeleton proportion. The problem here is that this can get confusing because the word of is next to $480,000. But you want to look at the second sentence. This amount represented 6% of the amount of business they generated for the year. That's the of part. That's why X is going on the bottom left. So 480,000 is 6% of the amount of business they generated for the year. This is a difficult problem to translate. Now at this point we want to cross multiply, and I get my equation of 6x equals 48 million. Now I want to divide by 6 on both sides using the division property of equality to get x equal to 8 million. My conclusion statement is therefore the amount of business was $8 million. If you're having difficulty with this particular lesson, please consult your in-classroom teacher.